Dee's distinctive cutting dies have always been bestsellers for us, and I'm so happy to report that we have some brand new ones.
We have some beautiful flowers, calla lilies, lilacs, and leaves, and we're going to show you how to make some beautiful cards and pages with them.
Yes, we are.
Come play with us.
And here they are, like you said, calla lilies.
Calla lilies, and you're going to get the outline of 2 different calla lilies, and you're going to get the shadows, so you'll be getting 4
if you
dies.
want to show them, they're right there.
There we go. So 4 cutting dies, 2 calla lilies with stems, and 2 shadows, so it's easy to back those.
And then on the leaves that coordinate, or you can use them separately, you've got a large one, and then you also have the shadow of it.
Right. So that's the calla lily leaf, which can be used in a couple of different ways, you'll see.
And then we'll get into the lilacs, and you get these. So.
Right. So you're going to get 1 cluster. So this is the entire cluster, and then you'll get those separate pieces, and you'll see that too.
And this is something that Dee does, is she gives us a whole grouping of them, so you don't have to laboriously cut each one.
And I love that. I like that you can do that all at the same time with just 1 swipe. Also, I want to mention that these are connected with these little metal bridges, which you can snip apart with wire snips very simply. I recommend all the way to the edge, though. You don't want that sticking out because they can be pretty sharp.
It's sharp, yes. Right. Okay, so here is our first card, and it is obviously using the calla lily, both the blossom and the leaves. And that shine that you're seeing is a surprising thing to me. This is using the silver fireworks holographic.
Isn't that beautiful?
And I think this is just a great way to show, okay, this might look like, oh my gosh, why would I ever use that? Well, let alone on a calla lily, which is kind of a formal flower.
Well, and it's very nice that it's just on the edges, so you're getting an outline.
It's gorgeous.
It looks like it's embossed with silver embossing powder.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do think that's pretty. And I want to show you the 2 pieces that Susan used. So when you cut these out, you've got the shadow. So this is 1 cutting die. You cut that background, and then use the other cutting die to cut out the outline. Now you can see all of the pieces are still here. So you can just pop those out. I just wanted to show you that once you cut it out, this is what you get. You get these open areas like this. And Susan did pop all of these out, but one thing that she did, as I'm popping this out entirely, is she left that center piece, which may be called the stamen, the pistil, I can't remember, the center of that flower. And she left that in place because she wanted that to be seen. You can pop that out for an outline, and you'll see that in another card. And then you just glue it on top of there. And I recommend for gluing on such thin areas the Cosmic Shimmer Specialist acrylic glue, because it's got that needle nose tip. Very easy to apply the glue right where you want it.
And something else I want to point out is both with the calla lilies and the leaves, she didn't use plain cardstock. Instead, she opted to use the pattern paper. And I think it gives just a deeper, richer, finished project. I just think that that's, again, so 2 things that you may not have thought of with the holographic, and how fun that fireworks just does a great job.
Right, and then using those pattern papers from Botanical Frames, that is the paper set that was used here.
And this is the card greetings dazzle, so the happy birthday and with love. And isn't that pretty on the inside?
Yeah, just a little bit extra on the inside.
That could be a card front, couldn't it?
It could.
Or
simply
on a scrapbook page with a photograph. So just lots of things. Speaking of a scrapbook page, here is just a beautiful one.
Now, when you're looking at our pages, I hope you know, you look at this, and this is beautiful, and it says my favorite summer flower. So that's been devoted just to that. This could also be a little girl in a garden, or a little boy playing or reading a book. I mean, you can put any photo you want in there and make it your own, but that's just a gorgeous look with these.
Now let's get in closer to see the leaves. And again, I just want to point out, these are all done out of the pattern paper. And this is from the Serenity collection. And that play of light and dark, so the outside of the veins being dark, the paper being lighter, or the reverse.
And you're right, and it was done not with cardstock, but with the pattern papers that are all within that set.
And it just gives such a pretty, pretty look.
It gets a lot of dimension on there. Now the flowers themselves were done a little bit differently. I want to show you. So I've got the shadow, and I've got from the patterned paper this piece that was cut. So this is one of the pattern papers, so you've got that nice gray outline, and it's going to sit right on top of there. But Debbie did some chalking on there, so I'm pretty sure it's chalk. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's chalk. And I've got the classic chalk
I hate it when you lie to them.
I wanted to make sure that if you check the gallery and I didn't say ink, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's chalk. Anyway, so we've got the little pom-pom on the alligator clip. You just pick up some of the chalk. And you can either glue that in place and go through, which I think would work, but I kind of like the idea of sort of eyeballing it and then working in that area. It doesn't have to perfectly fill, it doesn't have to be perfectly within those lines. It still looks beautiful even if you get a little halo around it. So that's what you can do. Do that around, down around the edges, down here, make a little bit of a shadow there, and you have that beautiful look.
And I'll bring this back in just so you can get another closer look. And as we said, this is on the Serenity papers. It looks like this. Very, very outdoorsy, very botanical.
Really nature-like,
and working
yeah.
nicely. That label that's right there was used with the Design Tool Kit number 10 template. So there you go for that.
So beautiful page, just with a couple of cutting dies.
Now
Beautiful.
we're going to move on to the lilac. Do you want to bring the cutting die back?
Okay.
And we did show it to you. There are the pieces.
Right, so here's what it looks like. And there is the cutting die.
Yeah. Now, we haven't been shaping things, and we're not going to with the first card, but in a minute we will. So here is that bouquet of lilacs. Now, these are flat, however, they've been cut out a couple of times, so there's some foam taping going on.
Right. And they're just stacked on top of there. And to just get a little bit of color on there, Susan started by cutting out that cluster. Now I'm showing it in pink just because there's a different way to do this. She did this in purple. You could also do this in pink, using yellows, whatever color you think lilacs could be. And she just did a little inking on those and a little inking on the smaller pieces by using an art dauber. She had 3 different chalks that she used. She used Wisteria, Concord, and then Aquamarine was used for the leaves. So if I just show you one of those little die cuts, really simple, just to add a little bit. I don't want it too dark, but I want to make sure I have some ink on there. And you can just sort of go around the edges and add a little highlight just to the edges, and it doesn't overpower it. Now some of them you can make a little darker, some of them you can make a little lighter. Since this was done in pink, like I was saying, here's what it looks like in pink after you add those stacked flowers on there and then put some jewel dazzles
and
on
so
top
the
of
stack
them.
isn't the whole piece. You've trimmed out a couple of them to give that dimension.
Well, you just, you don't have to cut them. You just, they're individual, right? Just foam tape, just add those little pieces on top, and there you go. Go ahead.
And she did use the calla lily leaves behind here, so you can see that. She also did the square and turned that into a bouquet holder. Right. And that's using the white vellum, which we now have.
Vellum. In the gallery, look up the dimensions, but I believe it's 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. That's a square. Put it on point, mark the center mark here, which I did with pencil mark, and the center from here to here. And then I went ahead and scored this from the bottom point up to that mark, and then you can just fold it right along that scored line, just like so. So you've got that on the right, and I also scored it on the left, and you just follow that point from the bottom up to that mark that you have, to that scored line. And then she just took and folded back the points, and however you like, and just fold it back, use your finger, and you can use a bone folder if you feel it needs a little bit more.
This is a good thing to remember because it comes in handy, and yeah, easy to do, beautiful out of vellum, and just tuck whatever flowers you want. In this case, of course, we're using the lilacs. They just look so full and beautiful.
Right. One thing I wanted to mention about the leaves that I thought was pretty interesting, she did them separately, like so.
Of course.
And first she inked because they were done on white cardstock, she inked that shadow and she inked the top. But the only inks she used when I was showing you was Wisteria, Concord, so now you've got 2 purples, right, and 1 aquamarine. So I wanted to let you know she used the aquamarine first. She got this nice light green, and then she used just a little bit of Concord on top to get a little bit of
funny.
shading. Mixed with that green, it makes kind of a hazy blue.
Yeah.
So it's just
I would
beautiful.
not have thought of doing that.
Right.
Smart woman. And she's got the black jewel dazzles in the center, and then on the inside, just a couple of little ones just to add. This is the inside, outside dazzles. So thinking of you, sending warm thoughts, and it add the border dazzles in white. Now, I promised you we would do a little bit of sculpting, and that's what is showing on this card. Again, the calla lily leaves, and you're seeing some sparkle on those lilacs.
And that comes from the Buttons Galore buttons, or the Lilac Lane. We call them 28 Lilac Lane.
Right.
All different colors, and they come with sequins, seed beads, pearls, all kinds of buttons. Just a great assortment all in one place. They're all color coordinated. So you've got those nice little sequins on the centers of some of those flowers. Now,
I wanted to show you the dimensions so you can really see what's happening here. And okay, take it away, Gail.
So Lene started by die cutting in 2 different shades of purple, and she got those, I think they're from Princess Papers, if I'm not, something like that. Look in the gallery for the different colors of cardstock, a lilac and a little bit darker, lots of small pieces, and of course the larger background pieces. And when you're ready to start sculpting, we'll take one of these, and I've got a mouse pad here, or if you can get some other kind of a firm rubber mat. And then these are the sculpting pieces that were used. And I can't remember the name of this kit altogether, but we've got
paper blossoms.
Paper blossoms, right.
Looks like this.
Paper molding
Comes
kit.
in a case, like you said.
And it has a pair of reverse tweezers, and it has several different sizes of those styluses. Got that little ball on the end, perfect for shaping. She said she used the large one. So I'm going to pull out the largest one, and I've got one of those, and I'm just going to start right in the center, go like that, done.
That's it.
You can't see it. I can see it from the side. That's really all you have to do.
I can see it cupping, yeah.
It's cupped, and then when I pick it up, you can see that's what it did.
Right.
So it lifted up those little layers.
And it just takes
so
a moment.
Makes it 3D. And then when you put many of those together on that card, you can really see it.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Adding those sequins, you could use the tiny Zots, or you could use the Specialist acrylic glue, whichever you like.
Sure.
Just really, really sweet. Now, backing up a little bit, just to give you all the information, that giant label that does a nice job of holding those is our standard 11 labels and trims cutting die. So just wanted you to see that.
That's great. I love that the leaves were done on the pattern papers from this picket fence paper set as
Isn't that nice? I love that shimmer of those sequins. I'm just really delighted by that. On the inside, look what she did, just coming from the top, and just really sweet. And that's using the tiny words and phrases dazzles up there, the For You and the Just Because.
So really,
just lovely.
Several beautiful looks with some gorgeous cutting dies.
Right.
And very simple to accomplish.
And they're just beautifully done, and we appreciate Dee's creativity and the design team. Didn't they do a great job?
Oh, yeah.
See you next week.